Hello, the holiday season is upon us, and I thought I'd take a look at this big tabloid-sized Treasury edition. They don't call it that this time around, from the Marvel Comics group, the Funtastic World of Hanna Barbera, the Flintstones Christmas Party. This comes from a time when the Flintstones were Hanna Barbera's biggest franchise. Hanna Barbera is fairly resilient in that they basically, they have different superstars in different eras. There was Tom and Jerry to begin with, and then when Flintstones hit big in prime time, that was their biggest thing, and they had like lots of TV specials after the series aired, and there was a theatrical movie, A Man Called Flintstone, and all that stuff. Yogi Bear was sort of positioned as their Mickey Mouse for a bit, but I don't believe was all that popular compared to something like the Flintstones. Um, and of course, Scooby-Doo is huge. The Smurfs was big, for the 80s. Scooby-Doo is their biggest thing right now. For a while in the 60s and 70s, Hanna-Barbera proliferated with all sorts of different cartoons. And this is something that I guess Marvel is trying to capitalize on. I don't usually see a lot of Marvel doing Hanna-Barbera stuff. Of course, Hanna-Barbera is owned by Warner Brothers, which also owns DC Comics. So you tend to see this more from DC, anyways. I know in the '80s, Marvel did do Flintstone Kids and stuff like that. Um, this has damage on it, so I mean, there's some damage obscuring Astro's face here and stuff. But I mean, I did want to pick it up because I do like these characters. And I think they did a good job of this. So the thing about all these characters is what Hanna-Barbera used to do is they had one cartoon called the, I don't know, the Peter Potamus cartoon, or the Huckleberry Hound show or something like that, and they would basically that show wasn't really Huckleberry Hound all the time. It was three segments. There was a Huckleberry Hound segment, and then there was two other segments. And a lot of other people did this too. Jay Ward did that. Um, you've got three different character stories and adventures, right? So let's try and go through all these. I know I'm shooting myself in the foot by doing this. So Santa Claus, of course, that's an easy one. Um, so it's Snooper and Blabber. They appeared on the Quick Draw McGraw show. They're one of the segments. Here's Pixie and Dixie, the mice. They were always chased by Mr. Jinx. That was on the Huckleberry Hound show. Let's get the obscure guys out of the way. So this is Adam Ant. He was on the Adam Ant Secret Squirrel show. He's basically Superman, but an ant. And this obscure dude is Yakky Doodle. He was on the Yogi Bear show. So of course there's George Jetson, daughter Judy, Jane, his wife, his boy Elroy. And also Astro, obscured by damage there. Yogi Bear, Magilla Gorilla, Boo Boo, Top Cat. We did his boy Elroy. Augie and Doggie. You probably remember these guys. Doggie talked like Jimmy Durant. And you'd be like, "That's my son," That's a Huckleberry Hound, a Quick Draw McGraw, uh, Dino, Fred Flintstone, Barney Rubble, Pebbles, Wilma, Bam Bam, Betty, Snagglepuss. So, holiday fun with all your favorites. You'll be seeing a lot more characters. It's crazy how big the Hanna-Barbera roster was. Now, most of these characters are forgotten and gone to the wind. I do know that they do proliferate in certain markets. There was a live action Top Cat movie. If anyone if anyone knows about that, it's funny if I wouldn't blame you if you don't know, because what's been happening is if something's syndicated heavily in a certain market like Brazil or something, then they'll make a movie to capitalize on that market. where people know the character. So I think it was a foreign market somewhere. There was a Top Cat live action movie. Same thing with Woody Woodpecker. You probably saw that at a Walmart somewhere. Woody Woodpecker, of course, is Walter Lantz, but I'm just using it as an example that that was big in certain foreign markets, and so they decided to make a movie to capitalize on that with Nick Offerman. I myself have not seen it. I wouldn't mind watching it one day. I'm sure it's terrible, but anyhow. So the Flintstones Christmas Party. Flintstones, as I said, was the biggest star at this time for the Flintstones. This probably was put out in the 70s before the Smurfs, right? This is a whole huge crossover story. There were some crossovers in the cartoons. That didn't happen in a big way until the Laugh Olympics and the sequel series to Wacky Races, where all the characters are racing and stuff, and Yogi Bear is teamed up with like this Justice League of Hanna Barbera characters. Fred isn't feeling the Christmas spirit. All the characters are here, and I should say this is written by Mark Evanier, and Kay Wright is the artist. And Scott Shaw is the inker. They really nail the likenesses, and it's deceptively hard to draw cartoon characters um, like on model, and to nail all these different characters is quite an accomplishment. I know people denigrate funny animal or cartoon animal or cartoon character drawings in general, but it's a skill, it's a craft, it's an art, and as just as someone can draw a detailed superhero and make it look awesome and dynamic and cool, drawing cartoon characters in different poses and keeping them on model is quite the feat in and of itself. So Wilma is making invitations for this big party they're going to have planned, the party of the title here, and Fred has to send the invitations to the post office. This dude is all like, "Oh, I got this Christmas thing! Oh my gosh, it's awesome!" There's a decoration contest going on, and Fred doesn't give a crap, and and he's like, "I'm gonna cinch to win this thing." And he's like, "That's nice," and I love that, and and this guy gives Fred the idea of giving to an orphanage. Um, so uh, so Fred wants to do this. So Fred rushes home as quick as he can, um, and he says, "I'm suggesting that instead of spending money on ourselves this year, we spend it on the orphanage." And so they do that, and they buy all sorts of stuff, and they reprise the charge it gag from the from the show, charge it. So they give all these presents to the orphanage. And you're like, "Oh, that's great," and she says there are not enough gifts for every child here in the orphanage, and he goes to get more, but he goes to a loan shark here. Um, Fred then signs away his house because he's an idiot, and gets all this cash, and they spend it on all these gifts, and they give back to this charity and all that. But the problem is that they've been evicted from their house from this a-hole, and he's like, "Read the fine print, I have your house now," and now he's living there. So he recommends that Fred go to an observatory just so he can use the telescope to read the fine print. And so Fred's really messed things up now. He's all evicted from the house and everything, and and whatever. So he takes this last box of decorations to the orphanage, and Santa oversees all this, and he's overhearing all this, and Fred never does send the invitations to the post office, right? So no one gets the invitations for the big party. So Santa decides to help, and he leaves a tree imbued with Christmas magic, and put a pin on that because that figures into the end. Um, so Santa is able to travel all around time. So here's the thing about Fred Flintstone. Fred Flintstone lives in the prehistoric eras of caveman days. How would he even know what Christmas is? I mean, they literally live in BC, which stands for before Christ, and there are like three um, Fred Flintstone Christmas specials that I know of. There's the Family Christmas, which was the half hour thing they made in the 90s. There's Flintstone Christmas, and there is where he helps Santa out, and he fills in for Santa. And there's the Flintstone Christmas Carol. So they've had a lot of good mileage with Fred Flintstone Christmas. Also, of course, the Pebble cereal commercial where, you know, Fred and Barney make up because Santa says so and all that. But yeah, it's weird for the Flintstones to be celebrating Christmas, but sure. So, anyways, meanwhile in like present day or the 70s, Yogi Bear can't sleep because Boo Boo is snoring too much. He decides to go and sneak some snacks, pretend that he's sleepwalking, and steal food from the two rangers, the park rangers. Anyways, they kick him out, and then he discovers this kid. So one of the rangers, I think this guy, or I can't remember which one, he is spending more time at work because he had a fight with his wife, and the kid is upset and tries to look for the father and gets lost and is in this peril. And so Yogi tries to save him, and listen, like, he's not a monster. So tries to save him, and then the park ranger and everyone saves him, and then he's shaking Yogi's hand. He's not at all stunned that Yogi Bear is a walking, talking bear. So, anyways, this all happens, and the dude is like, "We're both going home, son. I've been very foolish, but never again." Yeah, he's neglecting his fatherly and husbandly duties. So, so here they are, all happy and stuff. He comes back. And anyways, Santa's like, "Listen, I got a party. You're invited, man." So they all go. He wakes up Boo Boo, and they all go to this party. Meanwhile, Snooper and Blabber are hired by this guy to find Santa Claus, and they don't really believe it, but they're gonna find Santa for him. So they're investigating, they're asking around and stuff. And this one, it really crosses over with a whole bunch of other characters. So they ask Snagglepuss, they ask oh gosh, these two characters, Hokey Wolf and Dingaling. They were from Huckleberry Hound Show. These guys. So Wally Gator, Magilla Gorilla, Secret Squirrel. I can't remember Secret Squirrel's little dude there. I guess his name was Morocco. And you got Touche Turtle and Dum Dum. Peter Potamus. I can't remember what the monkey's name is. This was Hanna Barbera, man. They had like a ton of guys. Anyways, Adamant flies Santa in, and he's like, "Listen, here I am," and this guy's like, he wants a big red sled from Santa. Like, Santa's like, "Fine, here." And he's like, "Guys, you're all invited to this big party. Come on, we're gonna go back in time to caveman days or whatever." I'm pretty sure Touche Turtle was from a different time as well, but sure. Here you have Quick Draw McGraw and Baba Louie. That was that guy's name. And Huckleberry Hound is spending Christmas with them, but it's like super hot for him. But he doesn't want to let on that he's not having fun. So he's like, "Can't let him think I'm not having a good time." Oh, I'm very glad, Baba Louie. Very glad indeed, because Baba Louie asks him, are you not glad you came to us for Christmas? Um, so Quick Draw McGraw was a sheriff, and Baba Louie was his sidekick or whatever, deputy. And they're going to leave for a bit and leave Huckleberry Hound to hold down the fort. And these two a-holes come in, and they want to be arrested so bad. And they're doing all sorts of terrible things. They're throwing them into the trough and everything. And they're throwing them into the mud, and they're going to shoot them out of a cannon. And so Quick Draw McGraw arrests that, and that's all they really wanted. It turns out they just want like the big Christmas dinner that you get when you're in prison, apparently. And so Huckleberry Hound, he sees something that he thinks this means combustible, and he puts it into the furnace here for more warmth. And it turns out he's like, "What have you done?" It's like, "No, you got it mixed up. Combustible means fuel, but comestible means foodstuffs. That box contains 5 pounds of unpopped popcorn," so they get tons of popcorn, and these guys are loving it. And Santa's like, "Hey, I got a party to go to. Guys, come along." That's how they're tying everything in. Santa's going to invite all these guys to the Flintstones Christmas party. Meanwhile, Top Cat is causing mischief with all his character. I'm not going to name all these guys, gosh. And they're making a snowman, and this guy's like, "Hey, can't do that." And he kicks it, and it turns out it's a fire hydrant. That's the kind of mischief they always play on these cops. I know a lot of people love Top Cat. I have to watch it again. I found it kind of boring, but maybe it's just me. It's probably just me. I got scolded by somebody on J-Man's channel for that, but I'll watch it again. Anyways, one of their friends is leaving for good. They don't know why. And they realize that the mother's coming, and they want to make everyone play along that he's like the big boss of this place, because that's apparently what he's been telling her. So they get everyone to play along. So here's the mother, and so everyone, like Lippy Lion, Hardy Har Har, who is a hyena. These guys will, I don't know, they're so obscure. They play along. Hong Kong Phooey plays along. Snagglepuss plays along. He figures, oh my gosh, the cop won't, right? And he's like, "I want to tell Beanie the Ball's ma about her son." Like, Dibble's going to spill the beans. And he's like, "Your son is the pride of the community." It's like somehow he got the memo to play along to make her Beanie the Ball's mom proud. So he's like, "Oh, whew." He's like, "Even the police like him. That's important." Anyways, Beanie comes out of a trash can, confesses that he's been fibbing. He's like, "Oh, thanks everyone, but I really need to come clean," and all that. So that's that story. And then Santa comes out of nowhere and says, "Guys, I've got a party. Get my sleigh that can fit like 100 people." So they're gonna go back in time to caveman days. Here's Augie and Doggie. I always liked these two because I like the dynamic, and like the son. They really nail the way they talk here. It's like a capital suggestion, "Oh, father of fathers." He always like buttered up his father. Like, "Go get the rest of the decorations." Like, so anyways, this obscure guy is Yakky Doodle. He's from the Yogi Bear show. So he was like a yellow and green, like Tweety ripoff, I guess. But anyway, so the father made minestrone soup, and then he gets Yakky Doodle to warm up by going in minestrone soup. So the father's mad at this, and then more guys come. So Wally Gator comes. Pixie and Dixie run in, chased by Mr. Jenks. Snagglepuss comes in. Lippy the Lion, Hardy Har Har. Magilla Gorilla. Hong Kong Phooey. Yeah, these two again. I always forget their names, man. It's Hokey Wolf and Dingbat, or sorry, Dingaling. God. Um, yeah, all these guys are like kind of obscure because they haven't done a lot with them. And I didn't really. I watched Scoob, and I know that a lot of them were seeded into there, but like they didn't do a good job of that. Um, so, anyways, he's mad that everyone's invading his house, and then Santa's like, "Listen, I got a big party, you know." So he's gonna bring all these guys now. Um, Sorry, Dad, but we can be alone next year. Okay, and that's my boy who said that. So they're all gonna go. Um, so I mean, like it's not Hanna Barbera in this era without the Jetsons. Um, and this really nails the Jetsons as well. I mean, you know, like you can't just play fetch with your dog. There's some sort of weird gadget like the stick fetcher, and then the stick just comes to him. um, that's fun. Anyhow, the boy wants Elroy wants an Actoro robot, something like that, like a big robot that can perform like acting or whatever. Uh, George Jetson goes and tries to buy the thing, but they tell you the exact prices here, right? That's pretty shocking. So $72,581.46. Isn't a lot of money these days. I don't know what the inflation rate is in the future of the Jetsons, but holy crap. And then there's these other like higher end ones, like 127,673 and 6 cents. And he's like, screw all this. So this guy's like, listen, help me test out one of the robots. They'll give you one for free as payment. And he's okay, you know. So it's not for free. It's for payment for testing one out. But it's like a Shecky bot or whatever. It's like this terrible comedian, and so it has all these terrible jokes. And it's like a tramp came up to me and said he hadn't had a bite in a week, so I bit him. You know, the Shekatron, that's what it's called. Um, Let me have the pie, right? And he's reading this. He's like, read this. Like, what'd you say? So he shoves a pie right in him. I don't know why there's a candle transition there, but so anyways, the robot's out of control and blows up eventually. Um, and so George Jetson figures, listen, let me put this on as a costume and act like it's a robot. So Elroy loves it. And Santa comes out of nowhere and says, guys, I got a party. Everyone come to my party. So George says, you know what, I've been this robot all along. But anyway, let's go to this big weird party. So back at Bedrock, Fred doesn't know what to do. I mean, they've been evicted out of their house. They're going to lose their house. They'll lose everything. Meanwhile, this tree outside the orphanage has grown and it's lovely, and everyone's been looking at it for like an hour. And this one's like, this is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my whole life. So Fred's like, you know, like, we have no presents. We're about to lose our home. We have no party. Tell me, Wilma, what have I got to be happy about? And she's like, how about us? And then the baby said, you know, Pebbles says something, how about your friends? And they come in. And he's like, you know what, you're right. You know, like, I've got my family and friends. So these two kids from the orphanage come and they're like, is Fred Flintstone here? We heard that he was losing his house. And they're like, we're from the orphanage. We know how much you've helped us. And we just won the best Christmas decoration cash prize. Because that decoration contest was happening, and that tree, you know, helped them win. You know, a tree that Santa helped with his magic. And they said, we want you to take the money and get your house back. And he's crying. And they're like, you know, is there something wrong? And it's like, Wilma's like, listen, we're going to repay you. Like, we have to do that, right? And it's like, we won the contest for the strangest reason. A beautiful tree appeared outside our home, as if by magic. So now they got the money, and they're going to go And it's fun to see Wilma in different outfits. So here she's got a winter coat on, and you know, like Fred has a like jammies or something on, and they go to this guy, and he's like, I gotta think of something quick. He's like, you can't do this according to paragraph 28, section K, blah blah blah, and then Fred brings in Magilla Gorilla and Lippy the Lion, who are scary as hell, and and um and he says, you know, screw this. He rips up the contract and runs away. And he goes, Magilla and Lippy, how'd you get here? Like he knows who they are. I remember in the Flintstones, Wilma and Betty were watching the Yogi Bear show to promote that show. I remember that. Um, anyways, Santa's like, I gathered up all your old friends. They're at your house now waiting for your big Christmas party. So here's the big money shot. Everybody is there. We've gone through all these characters. I'm just trying to see if there's anyone. No, I mean Secret Squirrel didn't really show. I think he did during that Snooper episode. So yeah, Touche Turtle, you know, Dum Dum, everyone's here. You know, like even Yakky here. So there you go. Here's a little activity. Um, it's basically you decode these balls into words, and it's something to do with Shaggy not hanging stockings up. It's like why doesn't he? And then I think Velma says something like, oh, he doesn't because he doesn't take the stockings off when he. Oh no, why does he get a headache? And it's like because he doesn't take the stockings off when he hangs them up. So he's hanging them up with him upside down because he's an idiot. Shaggy's not an idiot, but whatever. This is the Scooby Gang's only appearance in this entire thing. They're not part of this whole. They're more realistic, I guess. They're not part of this whole cartoony like business here. So yeah. And here you have a nice little back cover, color cover of the Flintstone family here with Dino putting his hands on his hips, I guess. Have a very Merry Christmas and a fantastic New Year. And that is the Flintstone Christmas party. It's quite something. I think this is a lot of fun, and the first big crossover probably of all of these characters. Because I know like Flintstones and Jetsons never crossed over, and they had that big movie in the 90s when they did, and it was a big deal, right? So yeah, this is a lot of fun. It would have been a lot of fun if you were a kid and you got this, along with a whole bunch of other presents for Christmas. And you read this. You know, these things were like really big format. Here's a normal sized comic, and here's this giant comic. Great fun stuff. Take care.